Namaste. Hi, welcome to the Shaman and the Mermaid, and this is your astrological forecast from March 14th all the way through April 12th, and we were inspired by Van Morrison for our mantra.
There's a lot of reasons why, and you can be ruminating, what could it possibly be? Which one of his millions of songs could be our inspiration? But I will give you a few reasons why we're going to pick our theme first. 1, spring equinox. 2, we're in eclipse season. And 3, we've got some planets going direct and we've got some going retrograde. And so it's kind of like a little bit of new beginnings, get going. We've got a new moon in Aries, and I think that's enough of our clues. Did you figure it out? In case you didn't, we will tell you it's Rock Your Gypsy Soul. And most of that is because of spring equinox. It's time to awaken from the dark slumber of winter and begin anew and afresh. And then it's heralded in with eclipse season starting on that full moon on the 14th of March, and it's in Virgo. And what do you have about that one?
This is the first series of eclipses happening in Virgo and Pisces. And this is on the south node of the moon, so it's things we need to heal and change and bring to the light. And so what we're looking at is the shadow side of Virgo, where things are snippy, snotty, controlling, irritated, critical, not good enough, not happening the right way.
That's all the unbalanced side of Virgo. There's a lot of really positive sides
Well, that
of Virgo.
south nodes, that's what
Right,
we cut out.
right.
So where it wants us to go is being discerning, measuring truth, being of service, connecting to the earth, being with the elements, making wise free will choices, and being an artisan, a craftsperson, and a healer.
There you go. He's a Virgo, so he knows those really well. So that's on March 14th. And eclipse season happens twice a year usually, and sometimes 3 times a year, but it's comes in 2. So we'll have our first one on the full moon. That's a lunar eclipse. And then 2 weeks later, the second eclipse will be a partial solar eclipse in Aries, and that's on the 29th of March. But first, the eclipse is about cutting away the things we don't need anymore. And I was just out of my garden. I was watching, oh gosh, I need to start clearing out the debris of winter because I can see the little green sprouts of my tulips and crocus and hyacinths and iris wanting to come through, and they're poking out and they're ready to rock their gypsy souls and start afresh and new and be a little bit adventurous. So eclipse season is pulling away the old debris, cutting away what doesn't work for you anymore, and letting that fresh gypsy soul come anew. And to help us out, the very next day, Mercury goes retrograde. You might think to yourself, how does that help us out to have Mercury retrograde? And what would you say is a good reason for it to be helping us to rock our gypsy soul?
Well, Mercury is currently in Aries, and it's going to go backwards in Aries and re-enter into Pisces. It's going to connect in with the Sun. It's going to connect in with Venus, who's also retrograding from Aries to Pisces. And they're going to connect in with Neptune. And so I think a lot of this gypsy soul is coming from Neptune and Pisces, that mystical beyond, just like way back in the days of old, when the world was a mystical, magical place. It still is, but we've forgotten it with our technology and our minds. And so Mercury going backwards from Aries is like the new, the real, the beginning, and then it goes into Pisces, which is like the ancient, mystic, fog, the water,
Into the mist.
mystic. And so that's the sign, one of the signs of expressing the soul. So I think this Mercury retrograde is, forget the mind stuff. You can watch the news, next year. Go back into Go back into the soul. The soul is never old news, and it's ancient stuff coming back that we always need. Love, trust, faith, and infinite creation. I think that's what this retrograde could be if you tune into it that way.
The retrograde will be from the March 15th, 3/15, which is beware the Ides of March, all the way to the very end of this report, and it goes direct on
Early April.
cheat sheet, the 7th of April. The 7th of April, it will go direct. So in this whole report, you'll have a Mercury retrograde into Pisces, and then on the 7th of April, it'll turn around and start to head back to Aries. But it's giving this chance into the mystic, into Pisces again, to revisit and rock the Gypsy Soul. And then since I've already busted out the cheat sheet, I'll keep it going on the 19th of March, which is a really auspicious day.
Katrina's birthday.
And besides that, the sun is going to be conjunct Neptune, which you take, the outward expression of ourselves and you saddle it up right next to that mystical, imaginative, unknown world, and you get to kind of rock your gypsy soul again. So that was another reason we chose this for our theme. Allow for yourself to go into the unknown, to deeper parts of yourself, to explore that self on the soul level. Spring is new beginnings and fresh starts, and kind of really, to me, the very first time that it's like the new year. Everything is coming up afresh. So anchor into the parts of yourself that are deep seated and bring them forth with some new spring greens. And Neptune and Sun conjunct is a helpful piece of that. And then the very next day, I don't even have to look at my cheat sheet for this, is spring equinox. And then so we are officially spring, and everything will be green, except for maybe not, because in Colorado you could have a snowstorm on that day. But technically we are officially spring and new beginnings, and really a good time to plant your tomato seeds indoors. Don't plant them outside. Plant them indoors, or any of the seeds you want for your garden. This is a good time to start planting seeds for new beginnings so that you can rock that gypsy soul. Back to the cheat sheet. Oh, by the way, sun moves into Aries, so happy birthday to all the Aries. And they're the ones that are like, go, get it, let's do it. And thank goodness for those people, because if it were all just Piscean people, we'd be still in the mystic. And we sometimes need to step out of the fog and the dreamland and then start something new. That's why spring and Aries are in that same conjunction. It's new beginnings, and let's go and start something fresh. So that will be the 20th of March. Then we kind of skip a week and we go clear to the 27th of March, and this is when Venus, which is retrograde, technically moves into Pisces. It's been in Aries, it reverses the truck, goes back into Pisces, where it's exalted, feels really good. It's like, hey, this makes me feel real good to be here. And it gets a dip back into its gypsy soul. Springtime is here. It gets a little remembrance of its old ways, and then it busts forth again a little bit down the road. On the 29th of March is when we have that second eclipse. The moon will be in the sign of Aries, and it's a partial solar eclipse. New moons are the solar eclipse, full moons are the lunar eclipses. And Mercury will be then going into Pisces also that day. So there's a party in Pisces. We got Venus, we've got Neptune, we've got now Mercury will be there that day. And where's Saturn?
Pisces.
Oh my gosh, we've got a total party in Pisces. Rock your gypsy soul. That's where Pisces kind of holds that gypsy energy, where we are a little bit more authentic, not paying attention to the boundaries and the rules. The sky's the limit. It's an endless beyond of what we could potentially do for ourselves. And all those planets there are saying, rock your gypsy soul. And then on March 30th, we have Neptune into Aries. And what does that even do?
Well, Neptune hasn't been in Aries since 1861.
Yeah.
So 165 years ago. And here's a little historical astrology for you. Neptune went into Aries 165 years ago. So that's a tough one.
We need something different this time.
Yeah, so this is a chance to either repeat that cycle or change that cycle. I'd say change that cycle.
Yes, yes, no civil wars. So we want to remember on that gypsy soul level that at the core essence of who we are, at that gypsy level of who we are, we're love bugs. We don't want war. We don't want civil war. So instead, I feel like Neptune moving into Aries could be more like take the warrior into a dreamlike state. And I know everyone just go do mushrooms that day. That'd be really good. Just kidding. Don't do that. Or do that. I don't know. I don't do that. I know. I would do that if it worked for me, though. So I feel instead of a civil war, maybe we could have.
Well, Neptune and Aries. Neptune is your spiritualized self, unconditional love, and Aries is like personal, one-to-one. So it's like, why not love everybody? And the Aries connection is turning to someone and be like, hey, you and I are here. I see we're really different, but hey, namaste, I love you.
A love illusion.
A love illusion instead.
No
It's possible. The only difference is your mind saying, no, it's not.
Yeah. Don't be angry. That doesn't help anything. That's the Aries piece. Aries can, on its shadow side, hold a lot of resentment, a lot of anger, a lot of that I'm going to kill this, I'm going to destroy this, I'm going to
Let's go to war.
Let's go to war. But Aries, in its highest way, believe it or not, is like big-hearted. It's like loving. It's
Hanuman.
It's Hanuman for sure, pulling the heart open. So that's it. The Neptune moving into Aries thing is everyone get your Hanuman on. Be of service to one another. Have that love illusion that we're talking about instead. That's all on
March
the
30th.
30th of March. And then almost there on the 6th of April, Venus is going to trine Mars. So these are the two, the masculine and the feminine. This is the solar and the lunar, the yin and the yang, and they're going to come together in harmony to one another. And a trine always brings like positive strokes to one another. So that's a great day on April 6th for communion of the opposites coming together. And then right after that, Mercury's going to go direct. So everything's flowing back to smooth sailing on communication, transportation, and technology on that April 7th day. And then right shortly after that will be our next report, which is the full moon in the sign of Libra, and it will also be Venus going direct. So then she had her dip into Pisces. She'll turn around and cruise back towards Aries, and that will be on April 12th when we meet you again. Till then, happy spring. Enjoy the equinox season. That's when you throw things into the portal and let them be dissolved or walled or cleared. And remember, rock your gypsy soul.